There's a lot of big questions in this election cycle, but of course, one of them is foreign policy.
Yeah, and a lot of them are being asked in Beijing, I suspect, right now. Bob, it's really great to have you here. You know China well. You spent a lot of time over there. So there's a lot of developments all of a sudden. Give us your sense, coming out of the party plenum, which all had to do with their economy. What do they think about the U.S. election and how it may affect their economy?
Well, I think all these commentaries are right. They probably look at the future as being sort of fraught with trade wars and particularly investment-related wars, and particularly trade and investment that relate to high technology. That is their goal in China, to surpass us in the high-end technology, quantum, AI, a whole range of things, both for economic reasons and for national security reasons. So they're trying to figure out what a new administration would do in that respect. Kamala, they don't really know much about. I'm sure they're scurrying around to figure out, as are many Americans. I think with Trump, they're probably of the view that Trump hasn't necessarily said very much about Taiwan yet. He said they should pay for their own defense, which he has said about NATO countries also. But beyond that, it hasn't been very deep. The thing about this election that plays into the China narrative is it's totally confusing. And we shouldn't forget that one of their major goals internationally is to demonstrate that their system is more stable and more predictable than ours. That democracy, particularly as it's now being practiced in the US, is very, very fragmented. It's angry, it's not stable. It leads to things like attempted assassinations, which you don't see in China. Confusion, partisan confusion and rancor. And the Chinese are going around to the developing countries saying, our system, which the Americans have been so negative about, is actually more stable, more predictable. You can count on us. Can you count on the Americans? Can you count on the next administration to be your friend, your ally? Can you count on them to build alliances as opposed to undermining them?
Former President Trump has said some pretty remarkable things when it comes to tariffs, for example, on China, including 60%.
On the heels of the just concluded third plenary session of the 20th Communist Party of China's Central Committee, a delegation of the Board of Directors of the U.S.-China Business Council, USCBC, which include executives from the council and some U.S. firms like Boeing Global and United Family Healthcare, have met with Chinese officials, highlighting U.S. business community's deep interest in the outcomes of the third plenum and the intertwined and irreplaceable nature of bilateral economic ties. The delegation was the first U.S. business delegation to visit China following the key session. Experts said that just after the third plenum, the group of U.S. corporate executives are eager to visit China to learn about the direction of China's next step in the reform and opening up, which demonstrated the high interest of the U.S. business community to strengthen cooperation with the world's second-largest economy, and further showed that the Chinese market is as always full of attraction. China on Sunday made public the resolution on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization, which was adopted at the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee on Thursday. Describing opening up as a defining feature of Chinese modernization, the resolution stressed that China will remain committed to the basic state policy of opening to the outside world and continue to promote reform through opening up. Leveraging the strengths of China's enormous market, China will enhance its capacity for opening up while expanding international cooperation and develop new institutions for a higher standard open economy, said the resolution. Analysts noted that the resolution has charted a blueprint to promote high-quality development for China, and the opening up endeavors highlighted in the resolution underscored the country's unwavering determination to providing development dividends to the world. Face-to-face meetings. Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao met the delegation led by Raj Subramanian, board chair of the USCBC, on Tuesday, with the two sides exchanging views on China-US economic and trade relations, the development of US enterprises in China and other topics. Wang noted that China will continue to open up and welcome enterprises from all over the world, including those from the US, to continue to explore the Chinese market and share development opportunities. If a delegation of Indian businessmen visits China following American businesses visiting Beijing, it would be good. Analysts said that just after the American businessmen visit, hopefully a group of Indian corporate executives would come to visit China. But they are not eager to visit China to learn about the direction of China's next step in the reform and opening up, which demonstrated the high interest of the Indian business community to strengthen cooperation with India, and further showed that the Chinese market is as always full of attraction. Indian leadership often projects border issue rather than economic issues. Border issue is chronic. Business is business. Leveraging the strengths of China's enormous market, they said China will enhance its capacity for opening up while expanding international cooperation and develop new institutions for a higher standard open economy, said the resolution. The two sides of India and China would also exchange views on China-Indian economic and trade relations, the development of Indian enterprises in China. Chinese say China will continue to open up and welcome enterprises from all over the world, including those from the US, Europe and India, to continue to explore the Chinese market and share development opportunities. A number of US corporate executives waited an hour early in anticipation in the Great Hall of the People on Monday afternoon for meetings with Chinese officials. China will encourage Indian companies to seize opportunities by actively participating in China's further deepening of reform comprehensively and Chinese modernization to deepen mutually beneficial cooperation and achieve win-win development.